Hey guys, this is Corbin Hostler here. Back with another video this week, and today I want to do something a little different. I know my first couple of videos have been a little more introductory and some, good general information, but today I wanted to talk about something that's actually just really important to me. If you've followed me anywhere else, you know that, or if you've ever had a 5-minute conversation with me about Magic, you know that I love Merfolk. It's my favorite deck. The story goes back to 5 years ago, basically when I started playing Magic, maybe 6 months after I started playing Magic. A friend wanted to go to the Star City Legacy Open in Kansas City. We live in Oklahoma City. It was a 6-hour drive. I didn't have a Legacy deck. I had never played Legacy. I wasn't really excited about doing it. In the end, he convinced me to go. He loaned me a deck. The options were I'd either get Merfolk or I would get Zoo, whichever one he ended up not wanting to play. As it turned out, he chose to play Zoo, and that left me with Merfolk. Keep in mind, I'd never played Legacy. I'd never seen Legacy. I had heard about it, but that was it. I didn't know what any of the dual lands did. I had to ask my opponents all day long as I was playing in this open what colors they made. But I had Merfolk. I went and played, and I actually ran off a crazy record. Didn't lose. I went into the top 8 where I beat AJ Sacker. I beat Lewis Laskin in the semifinals, and then I drew the finals. We split the finals going in with another player who was playing Goblins, and that was really my introduction to Merfolk. It couldn't get any better than that. Play Legacy, play Merfolk, win some money. It was great. I played it after that in an invitational. Again, somebody loaned me the deck, and I did well there. And then I was like, at this point, I've won a little bit of money playing this deck. It seems to be fun. I kind of like it. Hell, I'll build it myself. So I built it, started building towards Legacy, and then they announced Modern. And I said, well, if I'm going to play it, I may as well play it in Modern. It could be good. I put it together, and then I decided after a couple months of playing it that this deck may not be very good. It's missing some pieces. At this point, you have to remember, I don't even think Master of the Pearl Triad had been printed yet. But the pieces kept coming, and I kept putting it together, and eventually started playing it around at some events and had fun with it. I decided, you know what? I have a lot of cards in Magic, and I don't necessarily play Standard that much. What am I going to do? What's my goal here, my end goal? So for me, it was, I'm going to foil out this deck. Why not? I'm going to trade for all the pieces in the deck. I don't have the money to just go spend on all the foils because they're, pretty pricey, but I can probably try trading for it. And it took 3 years, basically. 3 years of trading. But I'm done. I completed it just last week. I got the last Hercules recall that I needed and the Harbinger of the Tides for Magic Origins, and now it's finally done. So today, I'm going to just share, some of my excitement and the photos of it. So it's definitely my favorite deck. I love the Merfolk. And you know what? I have this card, man. This is so exciting to have this card. It took me forever to track down everything that I needed for it, but I've done it. So let's go ahead and I'll just start showing you, some of the pieces of the deck here. So it starts with Aether Vial. Aether Vial is one of the best turn 1 plays in the entire Modern format. It allows you to get around counterspells. It allows you to cheat your guys and really get ahead on mana. From there, you start looking at the Curse Catchers. It's the start of your creature base. They come down early. They're actually pretty important against some of the combo decks. It stops them. It stops removal spells. It helps from getting your guys countered on turn 2. After that, you look at your Lord suite, your 8 Lords. 4 Lord of Atlantis, 4 Master of the Pearl Triad. They're great. They're really what makes Merfolk a deck in both Legacy and Modern. Giving your guys Island Walk as well as the Pump is very relevant, and it's awesome. Then Silvergull Adept, which is basically the best card in the deck. It draws a card. It can be vialed in to draw a card if you don't have another Merfolk in your hand to reveal. It just keeps the guys coming. It's a threat they have to deal with. Here, then we have the new one, Harbinger the Tides, which is a really good tempo play. It keeps the deck able to attack. It can be vialed in to stop your opponents in combat. Really does a lot of things that help the deck across the board. We have the Phantasmal Image, just kind of a value creature. It could be anything else, really. It's one of those flex spots, but I like the versatility it gives you. The other 2-drop is Spreading Seas. This is really important in Modern. It can take your opponents off their colors of mana. If you're playing a deck like Jund, which has a somewhat greedy mana base, you can really punish them, and then they don't have double black to cast Leon, or they don't have the colors they need to terminate a guy or something like that. Plus, you can take away their manlands by turning them into islands. It's also obviously very relevant against decks like Tron running around. Next, we have the Marrow Regeries, that's the other lord in the deck. It has a nice synergy with Harbinger of the Tides because you can cast Harbinger with a Marrow Regery out, tap down their creature with the ability, and then your Harbinger on their play and you can bounce it. So that's really awesome. It allows you to do a lot of tricky things. Then we have Monastery Siege, another new inclusion that just helps protect your guys. It kind of fills the role that Kira used to fill, only it's better against Abrupt Decay, so it sticks around. Then Thassa is kind of a pet card of mine, but it's one I really like. It lets you scry every turn so you don't have those dead draws. One of the problems with Merfolk can be the Aether Vials. You don't want to draw them on turn 4 or 5. At that point, it's too late. You need a different card. And obviously, you don't want to flood out in the late game. Thassa allows you to avoid drawing those cards when you don't want them. And it can make your guys unblockable and occasionally turn into a creature itself. Then at the top end, we have Master of Waves. This is just a great all-around card. It can be Jund almost single-handedly because a lot of decks that rely on Lightning Bolt and Terminate just can't target it. Then there's the land base. Look at Obero, Manamo, and really they're just kind of insurance against the card Choke. Choke doesn't let islands untap during their controller's untap step, so those get around it. And in addition, they have a little bit of fringe uses. You can use Manamo to untap Thassa, or you can use Obero to bounce in your hand when you have to discard a card, something like that. Then we move on to the sideboard, and we have just kind of some things to round out the numbers. The 2 Tidebinders, obviously good against green decks. Then you have the Spell Pierce and the 4th Spreading Seas to just bring them in where you want them. Then some more spicy ones. The Swan Song is really good against a lot of combo decks. A lot of combo decks, like Scape Shift or Ad Nauseum, they don't care about a 2-2. It's not really going to affect the game much, but it's a 1-mana hard counter for their spell, and that's very important. Urkel's Recall, very good against Affinity. That's a bad matchup for you. Affinity is very good, so you really need the Urkel's Recall to try to be able to fight them. Then we have the Kira. You bring it in against some of the control decks for some more protection, as well as, this is one I really like, Scab Ruinator. So you can use it with your Aether Vial on 3, and it's a big creature, and all the decks relying on Lightning Bolt, they can't kill it, or Lightning Helix. They just don't do anything about it. They have to have Path to Exile, they have to have Terminate. A lot of times you can get it in play with an Aether Vial, and if they kill it, you can cast it back from your graveyard. It's great value against the control decks. One other thing I'll talk about, you may have noticed while you're looking through, is the islands. While this whole deck is, kind of fancy, it's foil. It's been a long time getting it foil, but the islands are just, these basic Ravnica islands. The story behind it is when I first got into Magic media, I guess, maybe 5 years ago, I didn't have a mugshot or anything like that when I started writing. I had an option of, choose some card art. So, I didn't know any better. I just looked around, found one that appealed to me, and it turned out to be this Ravnica island. And, it's just kind of a sentimental thing now to look back and see, how far I've come in Magic and everything I do with it. And this is kind of how it started. It's one of my favorite stories is from Gavin Verhey, who now works in Wizards R&D. But he used to have a playmat with all of his PTQ top 8 pins and things like that on it. And, some people look at it and it's like, well, are you bragging, Are you trying to show off that you did all these events? And the story behind it was actually really cool. He said it's not about that. It's his mom told him to remember to always have fun when he went and played Magic. And every time he looked at those on his playmat, it reminded him of that. It reminded him to have fun. He was there to play a game. I thought that was a really cool story, and these islands kind of are the same for me. Every time I play one, I see it, and I remember where I was at 5 years ago. I was just a broke college student trying to play Magic and, trying to write when I didn't know really what I was doing. I was just trying to get into it. So I really enjoy having those to just take me back and, remind me what it's all about. So that's where I'm at. This is my Merfolk deck. I just finished trading for every single card in this. I didn't buy any of it. Traded for every piece, and it took 3 full years to do it. But I've done it. It's great. Merfolk is awesome in Modern. It won a Grand Prix a couple months ago, and it's well positioned again. Really excited for this deck. Really love the Modern format and love having it, and I'm very excited to share it with you. So I warned you guys up front. You may have to listen to me talk about Merfolk some, and there you go. That's it. This is Merfolk. I love it, and I hope that if you have a deck you love in Modern or in Magic, really whatever it is, pour your heart and soul into it. It was such a journey to trade for all these cards, and it took so long. But when I completed it, I was just so excited. I obviously made this video to share it with you because it's just such an accomplishment to me, and I'm very proud of it. So I think that's, probably the best advice to come of this is to find that for yourself, whether that's a deck or a commander deck or a card you collect or anything like that. Find a way that you can love Magic no matter how badly you run or how many lands you draw in a row or anything like that. So thanks for watching, guys. I will be back with another video here pretty soon. So thanks for watching.